So, would you like to go first with your bracket, or would you like me to?
I can go first.
Okay,
I mean,
let's
I
go.
feel like
Go 1 through 12.
one
Go
through
go
12.
backwards. Yep.
Okay, so obviously at number one, I got Georgia.
Okay.
At number two, I got Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, I got Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Number four, I have Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Number five, BYU. Number six, Texas. Number seven, Oregon. Number eight, LSU. Number nine, Iowa. Number 10, Texas A&M. Number 11, Texas State. And number 12, James Madison.
Wow, Billy Napier sneaking in, doing what he could never do at Florida, getting into the college football
Put
playoff,
some
huh?
respect on Billy's name this year.
Oh my gosh, he got ran out of Gainesville, and he is going to show back up saying, "Look what I can do! Look what I can do!" John Summerall, you stay down there in that swamp and get swamp ass while I'm going to be in the college football playoffs, getting my tail ripped against BYU.
Yeah.
How
So
would BYU love that to be number 5 and then have James Madison coming to Provo, Utah to
oh
take
yeah.
on to be heavy favorites against the Dukes to
I
win a
mean,
college football playoff game against James Madison? That's a dream come
I
true for
think
BYU.
it couldn't work out better for BYU in this situation. Now, okay, so you got 1 through 12 there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then the first matchup, you just mentioned it, BYU versus James Madison. Obviously, I'm going with BYU to win that one.
Yeah.
So then the 8 and 9, I have LSU and Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, LSU, I think, is going to have a high-powered offense. That's why I have them in the college football playoff. I think teams are going to struggle with them all year long offensively, except for the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are going to be so dominant on defense. They've managed to slow them down, and the Hawkeyes are moving on.
Oh, wow.
And then at the 6 and 11 matchup, so Texas State and Texas are actually the first game of the season. They
Yep.
play week one. I think Texas wins by 3 scores in week one.
Okay.
I think Texas State learns from that, builds some momentum, comes back the rest of the season, wins the Pac-12, and then they come out and lose by 2 scores against
I
Texas.
knew you were going to say stupid shit like that. I knew it was going to be something like that. I knew it. Yeah.
And then at 10 and 7, I got Texas A&M and Oregon. Texas A&M, it's not going to be gravy for them all year. They're not going to rip off 10 straight and then lose the next 2 after that. They're going to have some ups and downs throughout the season. They're going to finish, I'm going to say, with 2 losses in the regular season. Oregon, I think, is going to come in with 2 losses. I think Texas A&M finally gets their playoff win and they move on.
That's bold.
I got the Aggies on a heater, boy.
Because they have to travel to Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, no, they're used to this. They're used to the sound. They're used to the hostile environment. It's like a home game, except it's not a home game. I think the Aggies pull out the upset of a lifetime. Dan Lanning gets canned, and the rest is history. Okay, so then I got BYU and Miami at that 5-4 matchup.
Okay.
Miami blows the doors off of BYU. That's where Cinderella finally loses her second glass slipper.
Yep.
And then I got Iowa and Georgia. Iowa's lack of offense finally occurs. They finally come up against a team that doesn't let them push them around. Georgia moves on. Then you got Texas and Notre Dame. This one I could see being a battle of a lifetime, but
Coin flip.
Absolutely, yes. Definitely a coin flip. I think Texas wins this one based on pure talent. And then at the 10 and 4, I have Texas A&M and Indiana playing. And when I tell you I got the Aggies on a heater, I mean I've got them on a heater to end the season. I think we start the season a little slow and end on an absolute heater. We beat Indiana to move on.
A&M's going to go 0-12 because you're talking like this.
Okay, so then you got Miami and Georgia. Georgia takes care of business against Miami. Miami had a good run. That's the end of it right there. And then you have another rematch between Texas and Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M wins the first one. They lose this next one in the playoffs, and that's where Texas A&M's season comes to an end.
In
So
the
then
semifinals. Okay.
you end the year with Georgia and Texas, the two potential top dogs of the season. And to me, the best team in the country is apparent on paper today, and that is the Georgia Bulldogs reclaiming their prominence.
You know, out of all that you said, and I kind of the worst thing that could possibly happen is not you hyping up A&M going to the semifinals. It's A&M getting to the semifinals and losing to Texas. Like I'm talking about you manifesting us going 0-12. You're going to manifest that to happen right there, and that is the absolute worst thing in the world that could ever happen. Is
Now,
to lose the game to go to the national championship.
I
After
feel like
the
it's
past 2 years, listen, after the past 2 years, they've kept A&M out of the SEC championship game. You're going to put it in the universe for Texas to knock off A&M to go to the national championship game. What the hell is wrong with you to begin with? Why would you even put that in the universe?
I'm just saying it seems appropriate given what we've been through the past decade, 2 decades, pick a decade.
And Mike Elko would get fired just for that.
No, they'd have a parade for him still.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I would like to clarify that when I said that 6 through 12 is really a toss up as of today, I could also see Texas A&M not being in the playoffs altogether, and that team being Ole Miss. I could also see Iowa potentially not being in the playoffs altogether, and that being Ohio State. Uh, I could see Texas State not being in the playoffs altogether, and that being Navy. So I feel like there's a lot of wiggle room. It could not be BYU at all. Maybe the Big 12 gets 2 teams, and we're wrong about the SEC or the Big 10 getting 4, and maybe Texas Tech is one of those teams. But even if they are, I think all roads. Moral of the story is Georgia's winning the national championship. That's the moral.
Yeah. I have a hard time disagreeing with that. I just I can't get over the fact that you have that. Okay. All right, my turn. Right? My turn. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. So for my picks here, and I have explanations for all this. Number one, the number one seed I have Notre Dame. And let me tell you
Wow.
why I have Notre Dame number one. I think Notre Dame's going to go undefeated.
I do too.
And I don't think that conference championship is going to keep Notre Dame out of number one because I think they're going to climb to number one in the ranking and they're going to stay there. So just so the folks know, Notre Dame, they play Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, UNC, Stanford, BYU, Navy, Miami, Boston College, SMU, and Syracuse. Only 3 of those teams are in the top 25 in the coaches poll. So why they do have big universities on this list, they don't necessarily have any big beefy games, I guess you could say, outside of BYU, Miami, and SMU, which you guessed it, are the 3 top 25 teams there. Navy's going to be a close one. They're going to play that game neutral in Foxborough. The opening week, they play it in Green Bay Stadium, or Lambeau Stadium, in Green Bay. But I think that Notre Dame is talented enough still. They do have some skill player positions that they have to adjust, and they had to from the talent that left, but I think they get it done, and I think that they're just going to happen. They only have one away game after Halloween, too. So you take that for what it is. So number one, I have Notre Dame. Number 2, I have my Big Ten winner in Oregon. I don't think Oregon goes undefeated. I talked about the one-loss teams. I don't think they go undefeated, but that's how it is. And I'm not going to tell you who they lose to yet. but we can get there when we get there. Number 3, I have Miami in the 3 spot. ACC only loss happening in Notre Dame, which is the number 1 seed. Okay. Number 4, Georgia. Georgia goes on there. They lose a game somewhere, but Georgia's going to be in that 4 seed in the SEC. I think the SEC bias has laid off a little bit here, whether people want to admit that or not. I just think it's there. Number 5, I got Tech, Big 12 champion. Number 6, Ohio State. Number 7, Indiana. Number 8, Oklahoma. Number 9, USC. Number 10, Texas A&M. Number 11, Boise State. And number 12, UTSA. The Roadrunners make it in. Now, I know what you're saying. How? How, Hagen? You said look at Ohio State's schedule and how did they get through it? I looked at it long. I looked at it hard. I think that Ohio State's Big Ten schedule is a little easier than Texas's SEC schedule. That's what I did. Texas may be the most talented team in the nation, or one of, but they also have the hardest schedule. Texas plays 8 of the top 17 teams in FanDuel's odds to make the college football playoffs. 8 of the 17. So they play a lot of heavy hitters. And I just kept looking at the schedule that Texas had. You start off with Texas State. Texas State's going to give them a run for their money in the first half. They're a talented ball club, but Texas will come out. Then you have Ohio State. I'm going to flip-flop my previous pick. I think Ohio State goes to Austin and beats the Longhorns. I'm flip-flopping on it. Then you play UTSA, a team that I said is going to make it to the college football playoffs. Be careful. I think the Longhorns win, but I think it's not going to be a 60-10 game, is what I'm saying, right? Maybe 3 touchdowns by the end of it, but not that. Texas has to travel to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Not an easy game. Not going to say they're losing. They're not losing that game, but they're going to win. They get a bye week, and then they play Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. The Sooners are going to win that. Did I mess that up? The Red River rivalry. I'm sorry. That was a lot for Hagen right there. There's a hard time with my R's. They got Florida again in Austin. They're going to get revenge. Ole Miss. Okay. I think Ole Miss is – I'm scared about the team that Ole Miss is. So I don't have them in here. But they do have the most electric player in the nation. Mississippi State, Missouri, LSU, Arkansas, and I think A&M gets them this year. That puts Texas at 9-3, the same record they were last year. But with 3 good losses, that if a team from the Big Ten potentially had those same 3 losses, they would get in over them. But in this case scenario right here, this scenario that I'm in, that last team, the last 2 teams, USC and A&M, both have 2 losses. And let me tell you, USC's 2 losses are Ohio State and Indiana. But USC's big win is Oregon. And that's Oregon's only loss. Ohio State loses to Oregon. Indiana loses to Ohio State. There's a bunch of clamor that happens around there. So it just all happens. And that's how USC gets in the runnings. Yeah, so crosswords, backwards. It's a lot. I'm telling you, people are going to say, oh, you could just get a mic and go talk about stupid shit. I hate when people say that. Oh, podcast equipment's too cheap. Well, you know what? If you look hard enough and look for a damn deal, sure, it's cheap enough. But if you look hard enough at all these different schedules, your ass is going to be turned around too. Okay? And we don't get paid to do this. And that was a lot to go through to pick all these damn 12 teams. I just want you to know that. So that's where it all came around. And I looked at the SEC team too, and I put them all down, and I said, okay, where are these losses going to come from? Look at these schedules. Look at these Pac-12 schedules. What's everybody going to do? That's why I said, okay, Texas is losing to Ohio State, Oklahoma, A&M. I've got A&M. I think A&M's going to go to Tuscaloosa, and they're going to lose. I think it's just a game that's going to happen. I think they're going to lose to Oklahoma in Norman. but I think they win the rest of the games. They have some favorable games at home, and they're a talented enough ball club team to go on the road and beat a South Carolina. They're going to beat a Kentucky. They're going to beat Arizona State, even though I don't feel that great about those games. I still think they're going to get the job done. But there's going to be a couple games where that ugly Aggie face is going to rear its head, and you're going to see it. Mississippi State. Ole Miss. You start looking at the games. I don't think they're going to beat Texas. They're not going to beat Georgia. I think that LSU game is just too big for them. I don't think Pete Golding. I don't have anything against Pete Golding necessarily. I just don't know if they can ride that high that they were riding last year to get as far as they did. Even though I am a fan of Kawan Lacey, I'm a fan of Trinidad Chambliss. I hope that they prove me wrong. I really do, but I need to see what Ole Miss team that we have there, and that's why I don't have them in it, because you look at just Ole Miss on their first three games of the season. They start off with Louisville. That's not a sleeper game. That's not an easy game on a neutral site that you can just go and do. You got to go to the Swamp at one point. You've got LSU. There's a lot that's happening within those first couple of weeks for Ole Miss that could easily knock them out early on, right? And then Oklahoma, I only think they lose to Georgia. I think that's it. And they'll probably lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, to be honest with you. So they have 2 losses, and it's both to Georgia. That's not going to keep them out, but it sure as hell put them in an 8 seed. So there's that. I know you hate it. I know you hate it.
I don't hate it.
I know you hate them. I know you hate it. I know you hate it. Yes, you do. I can see it on your face.
I just
I want to hear it. Tell me.
I'm gonna go back to something that I've been saying for a while now. You've gotten a weird allegiance with OU and USC.
Look, I really have a hard time. I really have Oklahoma. I really have a hard time seeing Oklahoma is going to be elite in the trenches. I think their offensive line and their defensive line is going to be really good. They're going to have a really solid defense on the back end. Their linebackers are coming around. Their safety their secondary is about the same as it was last year. Brent Venables can coach his ass off on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, you have John Mateer coming back. You still got the wide receivers. I refuse to think that their running game is going to be as bad as it was last year. Everybody and their mom knows what was wrong with it, and I truly believe that they're going to adjust, and you're not going to see – you can't see – I don't know what world you see back-to-back bad running games at Oklahoma. That's just not Oklahoma football. Think about all the great running backs that have come from Oklahoma, right? You can name a handful of them off the top of your hand. Adrian Peterson, Joe Mixon, those type of guys. There's plenty of them that come out of Oklahoma that do it. So I just refuse to believe that you're going to see back-to-back bad running attacks from the Sooners. So anyways, back to the bracket here.
Okay.
First round. I'm sorry. I got off on a tangent.
No. It's a good tangent. You're almost convincing me.
I am. Okay. So repeat it real quick, just so everybody knows. 1 to 12, Notre Dame, Oregon, Miami, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ohio State, Indiana, Oklahoma, USC, Texas A&M, Boise, and the 12th seed UTSA, rounding it out. Okay? So first round, I got number 12, UTSA, traveling to Lubbock to take on Tech. Now, as much as I would love to say that UTSA is going to travel to Lubbock and beat them, I think it would be a tight game, a close game, or two touchdowns. Tech's obviously going to win that. The next one, you have Boise State traveling to Columbus to take on the Buckeyes. I'm sorry, Boise, but Ohio State in a landslide. Following that, you got number 10, Texas A&M, headed up to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. This is where me and you see differently. I just don't know if I trust A&M, and I don't know if it's A&M or if it's Marcel Reed to get the job done. I had a good stat here, and I want to bring this up, and this is why I get a lot of hate from some of our fellow Aggies, and it's not me trying to be a bad Ag. I promise you, but things have just not shown up when we need to. And let me tell you this. I had it. Okay. So Marcel Reed has thrown 2 touchdowns in 3 games against ranked opponents last year, right? He didn't throw a touchdown in either of the 2 losses. So the 3 games against ranked opponents that we won, he threw 2 touchdowns. And the 2 that we lost, he didn't throw a single touchdown. So, big games, he's not there. I mean, you can say what you'd like. Facts don't care about your feelings. Anyways, I think Indiana takes him. And then the juiciest game, maybe of the whole playoff, is Lincoln Riley and the Trojans headed to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. You know how big that would be? You know how good of a game that would be to have Lincoln Riley back in Norman taking on the Sooners in a college football playoff game? That would be bananas. Bananas. And the Sooners get their revenge on Lincoln Riley and move on to the next round.
Okay.
That's what happens. Round 2. I even broke these down by bowl games.